Welcome to this video provided by the MIA Windows Server Competency Club. My name is Manfred Helber. I'm a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in the category Cloud and Data Center. In this video, I will speak about Windows Admin Center and the Azure Security Center, or the new name Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and other hybrid services. If you like the content of this video and if you want to see more of these videos and get access to additional written content about step-by-step guides about Windows Admin Center, then I recommend you to join the MIA Windows Server Competency Club community on LinkedIn. It's available via linkedin.com/groups/90493.5. There you will have access to all this information. Let's start with an overview of the Windows Admin Center and hybrid services, because there are so many hybrid services available and they are configured via the Windows Admin Center. For sure, you can configure all these hybrid services also directly via the Azure portal, but in the Windows Admin Center, you have an easy wizard, or you have several easy wizards to configure these hybrid services for your on-premises infrastructure based on Windows Server and for sure also Azure Stack HCI. Let's start with the Azure Security Center. I think you are familiar with the name Azure Security Center, but there are some changes in the wording or the naming, and this is the reason why you can also read here Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Previously, the name was Azure Security Center. Then we had an additional product, it was called Azure Defender. Azure Security Center in combination with Azure Defender is Microsoft Defender for Cloud. And so this is the reason why in the Windows Admin Center you will also find these two names, Azure Security Center, these are the old tools, and Microsoft Defender for Cloud, these are the new capabilities. Microsoft Defender for Cloud provides you a continuous assessment of your environment, a highly secure of your environment on premises, in other clouds, and for sure in Azure, and it supports you to defend against attacks. Microsoft Defender for Cloud is a combination of different tool sets in Azure. So the Cloud Security Posture Management in the Azure Security Center is free, and it uses the log analytics capabilities. The Cloud Workload Protection Azure Defender plan is an additional subscription based on the server. So we have an additional fee to pay for each additional server where we want to have the full functionality here. Let's start a live demo to see how we can configure the Azure security capabilities via Windows Admin Center. Let's navigate to a D114 server 22. This is a server where we configured in a previous video some of the hybrid capabilities. So we configured, for example, already Azure Arc. Via Azure Arc, it would be possible to enable the security capabilities on this machine without accessing the Windows Admin Center. But our video focuses on Windows Admin Center. And let's imagine you start with the Azure Security Center or Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Now something interesting happens. When I'm in the Windows Admin Center, then I will see the Azure Security Center is available here. I can read here Azure Security Center. It's monitoring security across hybrid workloads, apply policy to ensure compliance, find and fix vulnerabilities, block malicious activity, detect attacks, and simplify investigations for rapid threat response. Exactly what we want to use. When I click on Setup, I will see, oh, it jumps to an extension gallery and it says no records found. So something is going wrong here. And I mentioned this on the presentation slide. They changed something. There's a new naming for a new combination of the product. So this tool in the Azure Hybrid Center does not work any longer because of some changes we had here in the cloud. Unfortunately, the Windows Admin Center is actually not updated in the Azure Hybrid Center. I'm absolutely sure this will happen in the next version. But what we already have here on the left-hand side, the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Actually, it's not integrated in the Azure Hybrid Center, but it's a hybrid service. If you will not find Microsoft Defender for Cloud in your tools list on your server, then the recommendation is to go to the settings of the Windows Admin Center, and in the settings you can select the extension, and here you can select the Microsoft Defender for Cloud and install this extension. Select install, and then you will have this extension. Here on this Admin Center installation, this extension is already available, so I will go to Server 2020 again, and I will select the Microsoft Defender for Cloud now. So Microsoft Defender for Cloud, I can see here, I can set up Defender for Cloud, and there's a free 30-day trial. What will I want to use? I want to use the Azure subscription here, my Azure sponsorship subscription. I want to use a new Log Analytics workspace. The new Log Analytics workspace will be an MEA Security Log 02. MEA Security Log 02. You can choose your preferred region, and I want to create a new resource group, the MEA Security Resource Group 02, MEA Security Resource Group 02. You can also add your Defender for Cloud configuration here to an existing resource group. But I want to ensure that you will be able to configure these steps in a new Windows Admin Center environment where you have not onboarded any additional Azure hybrid services till now. If you never connected your Windows Admin Center with Microsoft Azure, you will see that you have to onboard your Windows Admin Center first. If you are part of the MEA Windows Server Competency Club group on LinkedIn, you will there be able to access a written document I have created where I describe how to install Windows Admin Center and how to connect Windows Admin Center to Microsoft Azure. Here I can see Microsoft Defender for Cloud standard tier will apply to the created workspace for $15 per node per month. Built hourly on running servers, standard tier is offered for the first 30 days without any additional costs. Let's set up this here. So Microsoft Defender for Cloud is configured now in this hybrid configuration on this server 2020, and I can configure it from within the Windows Admin Center, or I could use the Azure Arc integration here on this machine. Now it's enabled. I can see actually no recommendations, no medium severity, no high severity actions, no alerts. And I can directly jump to my server protection protected by Microsoft Defender for Cloud. There we'll see for sure in my environment I will have additional servers. So in the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, this is not only this single server I added recently, but these are also additional assessed resources. There are active recommendations. There are security alerts I have here. Unmonitored VMs. I have several unhealthy machines. I have healthy machines and so on. So this is the Microsoft Defender for Cloud Security Center, where we'll receive all the details about my security alerts, about the recommendations here, what I should configure on my machines, the security alerts I have in my environment here. It's only a demo environment, so don't be afraid. It's not a production environment. And for sure, I will also be able to access the compliance settings, workload protections, and so on. So Microsoft Defender for Cloud, very powerful what's provided here. But we already have seen there are many more hybrid services available via the Windows Admin Center. So for example, the Azure Update Management. Yes, Update Management is available directly in the Windows Admin Center, But with an Azure Update Management, we have access via the Azure portal to provide update policies to all our servers. There's another video where I describe how to configure Azure Monitor and Azure Arc. And there's also another video where I describe how to configure the Azure Backup and the Azure Site Recovery. Here we will have a short look in this video besides the Azure Update Management at the Azure File Sync. With Azure File Sync, we are able to synchronize folders to Azure and to other servers. And via the Azure Network Adapter and the Azure Extended Networking, we have rich capabilities to connect our on-premises networks to Microsoft Azure and Microsoft Azure Hybrid Services. So let's have a look at Azure Update Management and Azure File Sync in the next live demo. I will switch back to the Windows Admin Center and I will stay on the server 2020. I will check the installed apps. We have seen this in the previous server, in the previous video. Here we can see on this machine, I've installed the dependency agent, the monitoring agent for Azure Monitor. We have the connected machine agent for Azure Arc. So let's go to the Azure Hybrid Center and let's configure the Azure Update Management. When the list of the hybrid services has loaded and the hybrid services are available here, I can start the configuration of them. So I will select the Azure Update Management. I will click on Setup. And this jumps to the Update tool in the Tools list. And I will see several updates I can install manually on this server. But let's imagine you have 20 servers. Then you would have to click on each server to the Update tool to update this specific server. Via Azure Update Management, you can configure this centrally. So let's select my subscription here. Let's select the region you prefer. I will select the region here, West Europe. Then I will create a new log analytics workspace. It's MEA Update Management Log 02. I will create a new Azure Automation account. I will create an MEA Automation account 02. I will create a new resource group, the MEA Update Resource Group 02. And West Europe, let's set up this. So for the names in Azure, you should create a naming policy before you start. Here, these were samples I'm using in my demo environment, and I had to ensure to not run in conflict with existing 01 resource groups and so on. Please work clear on this naming convention, because this is what confuses the customers most when they start new with Azure and when they don't have a clear naming policy, because then they will struggle very soon with their naming of the services. So the Azure Update Management is actually setting up. This will need a few minutes to finish. Then we can still use our local update management tool here, but we can also decide to switch to the Azure portal and to configure policies that describe when to install updates on which machine. So, okay, let's see. Setting up update management was successful. I have still my update list here. I have an update history where I can see when which update was installed. I can see the available updates and I can manage it in Azure. I can manage it here manually, local on the machine, and I can manage it in Azure, so I can jump directly to the Azure portal via this update management setting here. And for sure, I'm also able to use the Azure Hybrid Center to see the Azure Update configuration, because now when I switch to the configured hybrid services, I will see on this machine we have the Azure Monitor, we have the Azure Arc for servers. We did this in previous videos, and in a few seconds or minutes we should also see the Azure Update Management configuration here in the list of the configured hybrid services. Sometimes you will have to wait a few minutes till this appears here. Typically it's immediately there. So in the update sections, I mentioned this, I have my available updates. Here it's checking if the machine is managed by Azure, and then I can directly connect to the Azure portal and install the updates there. So as I mentioned, sometimes it takes a while till it's shown here at the bottom of the page. Let's click on Manage in Azure. Now I will find this update configuration for this machine or the list of machines here in the Azure portal. And here now I can schedule update deployment. I can manage machines. I can add Azure VMs. I can add non-Azure VMs. And I can manage them here manually from the Azure portal. I have an inventory here. I can use the change tracking. So really, really powerful for this configuration here via the Azure portal. But there are more hybrid services. So let's go to the Azure Hybrid Center and see for or look for more hybrid services. One great service we have here is the Azure File Sync service. I can set up the Azure File Sync here via clicking on Setup. And I have some supporting video here for the Azure File Sync. Let's set up the Azure File Sync. I have West Europe here. I have a subscription. I will use the resource group that's recommended here. And then I will set up the Azure File Sync service on this machine. Everything is configured automatically, but this will take a while, and this will need too much time to finish these steps in this video. For this reason, I have prepared this on another server. So let's switch to the server 21, because what we can see here on the server 21 in the installed apps, we have an additional app that was installed, the Storage Sync Agent. This is what happens on server 2020 actually in via this Windows Admin Center configuration step-by-step action. When I now select the Azure File Sync on this pre-configured server, I can see here I have the Azure File Sync configuration. It's actually in preview. I have the Storage Sync service. I have the option to manage the registered server in the Azure portal. I can open the deployment guides, firewall settings guides, and so on. And I can open the settings to specify settings about the agent and about the proxy configuration. And when I go back to the Azure File Sync configuration, I can start syncing a folder in selecting a local folder here via Browse, then using a sync group on the server, and selecting an Azure file share path to sync with. So really, really powerful capabilities here in this hybrid Azure Hybrid Center in Windows Admin Center. And I really recommend to you to try them out, to test these functionalities, because we will see more and more of these hybrid functionalities in Windows Admin Center for your on-premises Windows Server and for your on-premises Azure Stack HCI configurations in the future. If you want to learn more about these capabilities, I recommend you to join the MEA Windows Server Competency Club on LinkedIn. You can do this via linkedin.com/groups/90493.5. So thank you for your time and looking forward to see you in one of my next videos for the MEA Windows Server Competency Club. Bye.